I have long been a fan of the Olympics. 1956 was the first time that I followed it, and that was the classic bloodbath in water polo between Hungary and the Soviets. And Hungary wanted revenge for the Soviet occupation, and they got it. And then in 1960, that was neat. That was Squaw Valley, the Winter Olympics. And it was a very interesting one. Canada, and no, Guy Lafleur wasn't there at that time, but Bobby Rousseau was. He played for the Canadians after. Canadians got beaten by the US. The US then beat the Soviets and then went on to win the gold medal, beating the Czechs 9-4. And they were actually behind 4-3 after the second period, but a Russian defenseman came into the American dressing room and told the players to inhale some oxygen to give them extra strength. And believe it or not, they scored 6 goals in the third period and they won the gold medal. At that time, that was perfectly okay. You're allowed to inhale oxygen. Later on, of course, things changed. When erythropoietin came around in terms of an injection, that gave an illegal boost. Erythropoietin is a hormone secreted by the kidneys, and it increases the production of red blood cells in the bone marrow, and red blood cells, of course, transport oxygen around the system. Not allowed to use that, not allowed to inject it. But of course, many did, including Lance Armstrong, and he was stripped of his 7 wins in the Tour de France because he had cheated. Now, it is not only cyclists or some Olympic athletes. Unfortunately, Ben Johnson in 1988 at the Seoul Olympics took stanozolol, a muscle-building substance. He won the 100 meters, and we all felt a collective shame here in Canada because he had cheated. But this happens in other sports too. I'm a baseball fan, and I'm disturbed by the fact that baseball players, unfortunately, have cheated. I have Babe Ruth here and Roger Maris. They both hit 60 home runs. Actually, Maris broke Ruth's record. He hit 61 without any help from any kind of drug. That was pure talent. I don't have any statues of Barry Bonds or Mark McGwire or Sammy Sosa who hit more than 60 home runs because they cheated. They used muscle-building substances. They used anabolic steroids. And interestingly enough, their record years were within a 4-year period from 1997 to 2001, whereas in the 147 other years of baseball, that feat was only accomplished on 2 previous occasions. Of course, being an academic, I don't like cheating, whether it is done by students or whether it is done by athletes. And these days, of course, measures are being taken in order to try to catch the cheaters. But unfortunately, very often the clandestine chemists in their underground labs are ahead of the game, and they keep coming up with substances that are hardly detectable. Well, finally, one of my greatest thrills was being there at the Montreal Olympics in 1976. And I actually saw Bruce Jenner, then he was still Bruce, win the decathlon. And I remember him walking around, jogging around the track with the American flag draped all over him after winning what is one of the Olympics' most illustrious events, the decathlon. And Bruce did that without any help from any kind of drug.